Hey guys, today's video is about how to duplicate an object around a circle in Affinity Designer to create shapes like a flower, for example, as you can see right here. And we're using Affinity Designer version 2 for this. So we are starting with a new clean document. And first we need the object we want to duplicate around a circle. So we are going with a tier right here. So you have to go to this tool and click on this little arrow and click on a tier tool right here and hold down shift to get a perfect tier in terms of their dimensions. And we are now filling it with a good color that is good visible on this background, for example red. And we are flipping it upside down by clicking flip vertical. And we're now using our move tool right here and moving this one in the middle and in the middle right here. By having snapping activated, we see the middle of our object, and we now move it like 50 to 100 pixels to the top, depending on how big your object is and how many objects you want around a circle, and if you want them to touch them each other and so on. So you can test around a little bit with this. So we are holding down shift and the arrow keys to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now the important part, we are first converting it to curves so we can work easier with it. And we now have to select our move tool and select the object. And we have to go to this little icon right here and click on Enable Transform Origin. Now we see this little icon also in our object. We now hold down shift and move this in the middle of our document like this. And now we are pressing Command and G. So Command and G. And if you're using Windows, you're using Control instead of Command. And now we see we have duplicated our curve. We can now hold down shift and move it to the right, like 45 degrees, for example. And now simply press Command and G again, or Control and G on Windows PCs to simply duplicate this step as often as needed to fill the circle. And what we can do now, we can select all of our objects and we can go to the top to geometry and click on add. And we can now simply use a circle like this, hold down shift to have perfect dimensions and move it to a little bit smaller to the middle like this. A little bit more smaller like this, for example. And now select both of them and click on subtract to subtract, and now simply create a circle again, move it in the middle of this object, and we can select our curves and go with our corner tool we find right here. Or you can simply press C on your keyboard, select all of them, and maybe also make it a little bit softer, the edges, by giving it 2 pixels. As you can see, that makes it a little bit softer. Now our circle is a little bit too big, I think. We are going to make it smaller by holding down shift. And now what we can now do is simply color this one differently than the circle, for example the circle darker, and we have our object around the circle. Keep in mind that depending on how far you move it to the top and how far you choose the angles to be, the more objects are or the less objects are around the circle. So you can play around a little bit to get exactly what you need. And yeah, that's gonna do for today's video. If you enjoyed watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and hopefully see you in the next video, and bye.